Do you know that everything you see on your phone is zeros and ones? Numbers, images, videos, even sound. But how? A computer or a mobile is an electric device, and electricity has two states, on and off. We can store electrical charges in some electronic components. You can think of a charge as 1 and no charge as 0. But how do we represent data using just two numbers? Let's start with numbers. Let's say we choose to represent 0 with 0, 1 with 1, 2 with 1 0, and 3 with 1 1. If we all agree to some mapping for all numbers, then we solved our problem, right? Well, this already exists. The numbers we use in our everyday life are in the decimal counting system, digits from 0 to 9 combined to represent some quantity. But we have more of those counting systems. We have hexadecimal counting system, which uses digits from 0 to 9, and then letters from A to F, octal counting system, which uses digits from 0 to 7, and most important, the binary counting system, which only uses zeros and ones. So number 7, for example, in decimal, could be written as 111 in binary. What about text? Same methodology. If we agree to represent capital A with some number, let's say 65, capital B with 66, and so on, then given the fact that we know how to convert numbers into zeros and ones, we can convert these letters into zeros and ones. Guess what? We already have a system for this mapping also. It is called ASCII, American Standard Code for Information Interchange. Symbols and emojis have the same rules. Now for the hard part, what about photos and videos? What even is a photo? A photo is a group of tiny squares called pixels. Did you even hear the sentence, resolution is 1280 by 720? Yeah, that's right. This means that this photo has 1,280 pixels horizontally and 720 pixels vertically. This square has only one color, so if we find a way to represent this color in zeros and ones, then we could represent the pixel in zeros and ones, which means we can represent the whole picture in zeros and ones, because after all, a picture is just a group of those pixels. But how to represent a color with zeros and ones? Can we say red equals 0 and yellow equals 1? What about light red? What about even lighter red? The thing is, any color you see on the screen is just a mix of three main colors, red, green, and blue. Yep, that's right. The term RGB, which you see on gaming gear, refers to those three main colors, which you can make pretty much any color using different combinations of them. So if we put a lot of red, nothing of green, and nothing of blue, we will get a red color. But what is a lot? Guess what? We also have a convention for this. We use a number from 0 to 255 to represent the amount of red, green, or blue we want in our color. Any color is just a combination of three numbers from 0 to 255. And as we said before, numbers could be easily transformed into zeros and ones, which means colors could be converted into zeros and ones, which means pixels could be converted into zeros and ones, and finally, the full picture could be converted into zeros and ones. Cool, right? Now, what about videos? There is no such thing as videos. Videos are just a trick. Nothing could capture moving scenes. A video is just a group of static photos that the camera takes, but a lot of photos are taken in a short amount of time. This tricks your eye into thinking the object in front of you is moving, when in fact it is just a bunch of pictures presented in a short time. What does that mean? This means that if we could represent a photo using zeros and ones, we can represent a video, as it is just a group of those photos. One last thing, audio. Audio or sound is a wave. A wave could be represented by a contiguous line which holds some values. This line is analog, but we can convert it to digital. I'm not going to discuss how, but this wave will be converted into this. And you can see that at each point we have a value which is a number. This means it could be represented in zeros and ones. And that's it. This is how everything you see or hear is represented by zeros and ones inside your phone or computer. It is surprising how smart human beings could be, right?